Waiting for it to pop. There. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics, our For the Nerds. This is week 17, the final episode of the year. Let's go.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up.
Hey guys. It's Bring Your World Champion to Work Day.
Did you get engaged or
yeah. But I got this world championship ring that I just happened to. Are you guys wearing yours?
Yours. Tell everybody what yours is, because yours is legit a world championship ring. Like, it's not. Most people listening probably just think it's like a fantasy football thing, but it's not.
I that would be cool, or like a place to put something fun like lip gloss in. So I work for the world champions, the NLL's Buffalo Bandits. They're the lacrosse league. And the people that are a part of the team got our championship ring. So I have a very hardy and probably itchy in 10 minutes rings I wear. And
how many people are you going to tell that you played for the Bandits?
How many people will call me out for not playing for it? Zero. Everyone.
I mean, yeah, no one. I mean, it's a very popular sport here. You are the host of the games. They're always sold out. And I gotta say, you're probably the biggest reason why, right? So you deserve the ring. You deserve the ring.
I single-handedly it's a great team, but I just got this ring, and it's it's very, if you're just an audio listener, thank you. But it's a handsome ring. It's ugly. It's heavy. It's not gonna be fun. Again, I probably have eczema now from wearing it. It's just...
I was saying before the show how great it would be if they just gave you like a cubic zirconia one, and just you like were showing it off today. It was just green around you. Yeah. That would have been great. But no, you got an official one. Listen, it's cooler than anything me or Ryan are gonna ever wear.
The last time I think I got a ring or wore a ring was my high school class ring, which I think I wore like 5 times in my life before it ended up in some box in the basement. So, that thing is definitely going to get a lot more run than my class ring.
I really fucked up because 1, I didn't finish high school, so I didn't get that. 2, I'm now divorced, so I lost that ring too. I'm not well with rings right now. We're not good. But I'm glad that you got your championship ring.
Thank you.
Now that we are getting going here, do you want to? I need to talk about this.
We need to talk about it.
But I mean, and I'll just preface this here, like everyone's talking about Des Bryant this week. He made some really he started getting the fantasy football scene. He was like all cool and everybody, and then this week he really went off the rails on Twitter. I know you know some more about this, so I'll let you kind of take over and tell everybody what's happening. I feel like we should address it a little bit.
And guys, please, as the certain woman, please just fill in whatever, if I'm missing something or I need to fulfill the story more. So we all know that Des Bryant was commentating on the Bills-Chargers game that was this past Saturday. And, he was talking about Josh Allen and how Diggs should leave after the Bills season. Someone, a Lady Hagen named Laura, responded to Des and said that he should not be, quote, making up drama just because your team lost, which is either a shut your mouth or a flirt. Who knows? Who knows what Laura was trying to do? But Des responded. Oh, my dog is now crying. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, not embarrassing at all. Sweet dog, I have a championship ring.
Ooh, he's announcing it to the neighborhood.
He's like, steal the ring. I'm like, what? So he said, quote, making up drama. I said something got to be up. And yeah, okay. By the way, I personally don't like talking football with certain women because they don't know their role and making a man's a game. I'll never tell you how to put on a skirt. Now,
Oh, was I supposed to hit that?
No, you're okay. But that's so Des continues to talk about how he will basically talk to a woman if they know the game, but he won't waste his time on people that don't know the game. And then he brings up, well, I'll never tell Serena Williams how to hit a tennis racket, but I feel like he would. There's a bunch of stuff. And then he's okay. So he said, this is what he said. He said, I'll never tell a woman how to birth a baby. I'll never tell Serena how to swing a tennis rack. I'll never tell Tiger Woods how to swing a golf club. No woman or man should how to run a slant, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, Des Bryant says something really stupid. Des Bryant is an athlete and now a guy on Twitter that commentates, right, guys? I mean, that's not a smart thing to say. You don't bring in someone's stop talking, put a skirt on women. You don't do that. We think we know.
Sorry.
We had a thing.
What is this?
I mistimed it.
You mistimed it. Okay, wait, let's go back.
Go back.
We were going to say this.
Let's hit the punchline again.
Oh my God.
Wait.
Oh, wait.
What was your punchline?
Wait. Oh, shit. Okay. The punchline was going to be that. I will not waste my time talking to a woman who don't know nothing about the game. Anybody who got a problem with what I should say shouldn't follow me. Please. I don't like all that sensitive shit. Get out of my mentions.
And then we were gonna flash your picture, but I missed the cue. Like always. What was
the significance of that picture? What would that have done? What was it?
Because we didn't want you're the guy.
Literally, Allie called when I told her that we were leading in with Des Bryant. So Allie called me and was like, "I got the perfect idea to shit on Ryan." And I was like, "Man, Allie,
it was so funny." We're gonna do a thing.
I want to quickly say, like, I'm not trying to be a white horse or anything with the situation and whatever, but like, some of my favorite people in this industry are women, including yourself, and I want to say something that, like, everybody that resigned from that position, I'm thankful for. I respect the hell that they did that. And honestly, like, I didn't really believe in what he was coming into this. I didn't believe his genuosity coming into the site anyways. And hopefully this just keeps him out of it at this point and, gives us back to us nerds.
Yeah. Women deserve a spot talking about sports. They are a part of the conversation. They are the conversation. They are athletes. And I think he 0 to 60 rage tweeted, which, like, chill out, Des Bryant. And it's really what a noodle. Like, you're gonna rage tweet someone that because she called you out for being like stupid. I just what a dork.
We have 100% of the women on our podcast have a championship ring, so we have to acknowledge that. Speaking of keeping nerds along in this in this field, you want to welcome Kyle Turner.
What's up? I had to make sure during that initial segment that I was right. I have a text where Lou's bragging to me about talking to Des Bryant. So I'm just saying, what were they talking about before that? I'm sure it was women's place in sports. And I can tell you what Lou just said isn't what he told Des Bryant.
I did meet Des Bryant at the expo, and it was a little bit before I knew. I didn't know. We didn't talk about feminism at the expo.
We don't know that.
Didn't he give? Wasn't that the story where there was like a very attractive woman, and then he like pushed her onto you?
No.
Who was that?
Man, maybe Ryan. I don't know.
There was like a back room, and then there was the vodka girl. Am I making this up?
I thought you were talking about Vegas.
That's at Gucci Mane.
Gucci Mane.
Sorry. Will you get the celebrities that I hang out with right, please? Thank you very much.
My 2014 celebrities correct. God.
I'm going to say
I think Gucci Mane respects women too, so that's that. Makes sense.
I know
you're not
anything
lying,
about Gucci Mane. He respects women.
Kyle, how you doing? How are you feeling? How was your fantasy football season this year?
It was bad across the board. I'm not in
Yeah.
one championship. I was gonna win one league, a redraft league, and Amari Cooper fucking kicked me out. He was on the other team. That team had a losing record. And then I'm out. And then all the other ones, I'm in 2 consolation prizes. Does winning the toilet bowl mean anything?
How are you doing in the Pop-Tart League? Was that a good that was a good game?
Am I in a Pop-Tart league?
Am I in a Pop-Tart league?
Did I not set a lineup?
There was a Pop-Tart bowl today. Pop-Tart bowl. Do you guys hear about that?
Yeah, the best trophy in sports with the 2 slots for the Pop-Tarts on the top of the trophy. It's great.
Yeah. You guys should
Oh
watch.
my God!
Busy.
Can I just tell you the weirdest thing right now? I literally just looked at my phone and I have a text from the VIP
Des Bryant.
hostage.
Oh, sorry.
No, from VIP. Yeah, he's already threatening me. You bitch! I heard what you said on your podcast. I'm gonna kick your ass. Get back in the kitchen and shut the fuck up. No.
Yeah, get that.
It's literally the VIP host from that leg at the Las Vegas bar where I met Gucci Mane.
Oh.
He's probably trying to get me to go down and meet I don't know, is Dr. Dre still doing performances? Somebody from the 90s. He's probably
Flo Rida is ready to hang out.
Oh, Flo Rida is a good show. I don't want to.
So, gentlemen, let's talk as we are now going into week 17. Let's talk about week 16 bad beats. Who are some disappointments for you last week?
Ryan, I'll let you start. I think yours is probably worse than mine, so I'll let you start because I've been wanting to hear the story. I know you've been in hiding the last couple of days, getting over it, so excited to hear it.
Yeah, it's been tough a couple of days. So I had I think a number of teams that had made it through the first round. I had 2 teams make it to the semifinals. I think 16 made it to the quarters, and then 2 made it to the semis last week for Best Ball Mania 4. And things were looking good going into the weekend. I had gotten out to a pretty good start with, low owned, guys who had scored touchdowns like Shaheed and, had a monster performance from the guy who beat up Kyle in his championship, Amari Cooper, and decent enough performances from my running backs. I had Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon and Algier, so a couple touchdowns there. And long story short, I was basically even or neck and neck with this guy with the final Sunday night game to come, which was the Baltimore-San Francisco game. I had Lamar Jackson without any quarterback scoring points yet, and Zay Flowers, and my opponent had Kittle and CMC. And so this game starts, and I'm thinking, this game's fucking over. I'm not even upset, right? It's one of those where you write it off early, and you're like, damn it, this sucks, but this is not even going to be close. And the second quarter comes around, and the script flips. I'm thinking Lamar's coming back. He's he's a 31-yard run. And I remember this moment at the end of the second quarter where, I'm starting to get some points back, and Lamar has that 3rd and 1 run on the goal line, and he kind of like runs towards the goal line, but he doesn't really look like he's trying. And I'm like, what is he fucking doing? And like, he doesn't get in, and it's a touchdown where like, I know 100% if Josh Allen gets that ball, he's getting that ball in because he's running through like, somebody's trying to stop him. And he didn't get that touchdown, and I end up losing by 0.24 points by basically 2.5 yards. So 2.5 yards one way or the other. If Zay Flowers had gotten 2.5 more yards, or if George Kittle hadn't gotten 2.5 more yards one way or another, or if one of those crazy passes, remember the Brock Purdy flip over his head, if that had gone backwards instead of going forwards, that's not 0.5 points for reception, and I win that week and I move on to the finals. So it was an extremely, extremely tough beat in the sense that it came down to the wire. That last Kittle catch set me over, sent the other guy over the edge. And, if you remember that the second to last drive for the Ravens before the kneel downs, Lamar has an open receiver running across the middle of the field where he looks to just complete a short pass, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and that basically sealed it. If that guy catches that ball, it doesn't matter which receiver it was, I would have gotten enough points. So it's so hard to look back and just analyze everything and to be so close, but to not make it. I was hoping to go 2 for 2 because I did make the finals last year, and I was hoping to get on that list of, repeat, finalists, and so close, but didn't do it. So hopefully this was therapeutic for me, and I'll move on and continue on with life because it's not going to stop for anyone.
That's really bad, Ryan. I'm so sorry.
As all of you know, we're only 2 or 3 weeks removed from me spending $3 million in my head. And it was, I have not had a worse 2-week turnaround. And, I had all the good looking BBM teams and all, great advance rate and all the underdog stuff. I didn't get much through to the second round, but I had 3 first place teams going into the last game in 3 different tournaments of varying degrees that would have, all been nice payoffs in the finals. And I would have had a couple fun sweats. Went into that last game with 3 first place teams, woke up with none advancing. So I have so many. Kyle, someone who worked next to me all year and watched me draft more than work. I do not have one best ball team in a finals anywhere, and it's just 2 weeks ago I would have been sure that I was buying us all a house to live in. And now I am. I called a bankruptcy lawyer this morning, so things are still different. But it was a rough week to feel like I was at least would have had some fun. Going into last week. And even beyond BBM and the best ball, I was in 40 different dynasty playoffs in the last 2 weeks, and I'm through on 3 championships. It's just been a weird 2 weeks. Look at even when you're talking about best ball, the team that wins this tournament is going to be super weird and unique because the teams that got through last week with Cooper, are unicorns because Cooper really didn't do anything all year. So he spiked a lot of teams last week. Now he's not even playing tonight. I think 9 out of the top 10 FFPC teams in that tournament all had Cooper because of, the game last week. And, starting on Thursday, they have to start sweating now without him in the game. And I wonder, whatever, holiday week and stuff, there's good at Fantasy Mojo, our friend Fantasy Mojo, I promise you, will be tweeting tomorrow that 3 or 4 guys started Cooper because of the late inactive, holiday week. People are busy. There's going to be somebody that could have made a lot of money that started Cooper tonight. And that's a little bit disappointing.
It was definitely a weird week. That would have made it interesting because I think it was over 50% of the teams that made it to the final in BBM had Cooper. And of course, he's a dud this week. He's a 0. So yeah, it was frustrating for a number of reasons. I did also score, 163 points, which, would have well cleared a number of, teams and other pods. So bad pod luck combined with, a tough sweat, but, it really will be the one beat that I think I'll remember, most going forward. You always will have that one. And I think that's going to be it for me, but I did better on the dynasty side of things this year. I'm in 6 finals this year out of 16 managed leagues. So I have a lot to play for this week. But it's still, it honestly, it feels like it doesn't match up when you don't get that BBM team through. It's nothing, nothing matters. It doesn't matter anything else. I just wanted that one live sweat this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the only one with the championship ring here, it was, but what a weird year, right? Let's okay, so the number 1 injury this year in the NFL was ligament sprains and tears, and we know the big one Monday, or the big game, those Bills and
Jets.
We had Aaron Rodgers came out first, which started the whole trend. And so, guys, who's one guy you were really right on? Who was one guy you were really wrong on this year?
Kyle.
Kyle, you go first.
I think, and this could tie into last week, a guy I was totally wrong on. The team fucked up when they changed, or not fucked up. They did the right thing, but it fucked up fantasy. Was Devontae Adams. He was fine, but he was, you assume you're drafting a top 10 wide receiver, and he does middle of the pack at best. And then last week in your first round or in the semifinals, he puts up less than 1 point. I got him on a team in our dynasty league that us three are in, and I'm not even starting him this week. and I'm still playing. I'm not starting him. And it's Devontae Adams. Like, how tough it is to bench Devontae Adams?
Yeah, but I like it. I like the decision. Like, like you said, he's not a must start anymore. And I don't know if this last couple of weeks shows you anything. Like, there's no right or wrong reason this time of year. Like, sometimes you got to play your gut feelings and stuff like that, because there's just so much weirdness these last few. There was not a DFS lineup that won with any stars. It was a really weird last couple weeks. So just going back to the original question, like for the year, like, of course, I wanted to talk about like injuries. Like, injuries has changed the way I will build teams going forward. And we'll talk a little bit more about this here in the offseason, cats and dogs. But like, running backs have become like a position that I want to just load up on and have tons of depth. Quarterbacks this year showed like, how many, half the league, lost their quarterbacks for a decent amount of period of time. So it's definitely going to change in the way I build teams, and that whole zero RB strategy, I think, is going to come back way more prevalent next year because of it. Like, I think people will just be focusing on the stud wide receivers early and then just loading up on the mid guys, because look at how many this year, like, just became difference makers. Mostert, Achane, the list goes on. There's not anybody on the top of those, the running back list that like was drafted super early. So McCaffrey, sorry. I don't want to forget the league MVP, but
yeah, I think I learned a lot this year from the way that the season played out. You don't want to overreact to things, but you do have to react to things. So, some of my biggest regrets, I wish Anthony Richardson didn't get injured, because I think I was right about that player. He was my highest owned player. And I think that had he continued on, second half of the season, he would be putting up, I think, insane numbers. I missed on some of the later round quarterbacks, including not getting enough guys like Purdy. Even Howell up until the last couple of weeks of the year was money. And not buying into certain situations like Tampa. Baker had a great year. The Rams, I didn't expect them to have a good season, and they did. And I think I was also wrong about what the Chargers were going to do, because I think, like every year, I kind of go in and think, oh my God, they got Herbert, they have these weapons. Now they have Kellen Moore, who I thought was actually the reason for the success of the Cowboys last year, but turns out he might not be the answer. So just a couple of things where you make these, you have these takes, you take these stands, and you're ultimately wrong at the end of the season. You kind of have to evaluate why.
I thought Frank Reich was going to change the world this year, and that
didn't even last the season. But I just think he got a rough. The organization, from all accounts, he wanted to draft Stroud. The organization picks Young. He doesn't get the guy he wants. Then he doesn't even get a year to like prove himself or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm not trying to stick up for Reich, but like that seemed like a shit situation to me. The one guy that I was, I guess, most wrong on, my biggest regret, but also like had a sneaky good year for the situation. I have all sorts of like season bets on Garrett Wilson. I had him leading the league in receiving, and I just thought a year with Rodgers he would have went off, and I think it's pretty obvious he would have. He had a really good season with guys like Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian and who was the other guy, Boyle. He did not end up having the worst season ever. I think he's still in like the top 15. He always seems to have that game like 9 for 90, even though he's, not getting TDs or anything like that. But he still was a miss, because I was playing him as a guy that was going to be one of the top wide receivers in the league, and I put a lot of my eggs in his basket. Guys I was right on, Mostert and Achane, are easy. All my productive teams had both of those, and I don't want to brag too much about that. It was a really good running scheme and a really good running team, and I just wanted the whole backfield. I think that we've talked about that a lot this year, but I think that becomes a very popular strategy going forward, is just looking at a successful running team and just making sure you get every aspect of them. I think the handcuff is becoming more important than it ever was in best ball, especially.
Yep, would agree with that. Just quickly too, my two biggest hits, I think, were nailing the tight ends this year, the strategy on it. I stayed away from guys like Kelsey from the higher priced tight ends this year, because I felt that there was such good value with guys like Laporta, who was my number one, highest owned tight end player at the tight end position. So trusting the tight ends that were going to be coming in as rookies and producing served me well this year in a lot of leagues. I'm in one final where I do have both Laporta and McBride, and I'm starting them this week, which is kind of rare to start two tight ends in a final, but I'm super confident about it given how they're playing. And then my other success this year was just taking a lot of rookie wide receivers in the drafts. They pay off every single year. It feels like their value is still depressed for whatever reason. Guys, they don't like the uncertainty of a rookie coming in. And I think especially early in the season, early in best ball drafts, take advantage of the rookies that you can start drafting, because you don't know what type of situation, Rashee Rice could be a league winner for some teams, and who thought, that he was going to be anything before the draft happened. So those were my two biggest hits this year.
Kyle, anything to add to hits or misses?
Yeah, I'll brag a little bit, since apparently we're bragging. My two biggest were Travis Etienne and Rachaad White. Yeah. All I heard all offseason was how Tank Bigsby was going to fucking unthrone Travis Etienne in Jacksonville. People were trying to get rid of Travis Etienne. His career is done after 1 year one playing year in the NFL. And I held on to him because I was like, well, this can't be true. Some fucking dude named Tank is not going to take over Travis Etienne's spot. And he didn't. And Rachaad White and him finished roughly RB 3 and 5, depending on what you are. And it's almost cheating taking or bragging about a running back, because next year they'll be next to nothing. But as far as this year, those are two guys that I held on to and didn't listen to the off-season critics talking about how by the end of the year neither of them are going to start.
I think you nail it in the head. I think it's just like more luck than anything. You picked pick two guys that look like the obvious shareholders in the offenses, and all you do is you cross your fingers and hope they don't get hurt. And Tampa was one of those teams all offseason. People weren't betting on Rachaad White because they're like, oh, they're going to sign somebody. And then they got in July, and then they got in August, and then they were in training camp, and they just never brought anybody back or brought anybody to compete with them. And he really, avoided any competition all year. And like you said, was productive. Next year, like you said, he could do nothing. So, but it's just trying to guess on the right guy each year. And that's kind of why my strategy going forward is just going to be have as many bullets in the running back field as I can, I think, just to try to get that.
All right. Good talk, guys. Good talk.
You want to show off your ring again? You fall asleep.
Let's talk about off-season cats and dogs, the final one of the season.
Trying to get our two boys ready to carry them to golf tournament before practice, right? 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke, so you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, what are you doing in here, little kitty cat? By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, what's going on? I said, there's a cat in the house. Cat in the house? I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house. So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
What the
Kyle Turner, everyone.
Kyle, do you not love the new production value of our? I mean, I know you weren't around for my advances in production value, but are you impressed or what?
No, but I commend your effort on everything you do.
Not impressed, but all right. That's all I need. It's just a little need half validation is all I really want.
Can we put the slogan back to the duck so Kyle feels at home?
Wait. I think I could.
Goose.
Yeah, I think I could find it. I think I can
Okay,
find it. Look at the duck. Oh, here. There's Kyle. Kyle, you want
They just
Okay,
took away the
we're gonna have to superimpose your championship ring next year on the feather.
This ring?
we're gonna have to get an update to the thing.
The best.
All right.
Let's talk about this off season's cats and dogs. Ryan, do you want to go first on this? It's always good luck when you go.
All right, sure. I'll run through mine. So I wanted to give just one or two guys at each position. What, Lou? Come on, you said you were doing the same thing. Don't roll your eyes. All right. So my one and only quarterback off-season cat is Dak Prescott, and I think he's just he's running hot on efficiency this year. And you can say,
are we buying cats or selling cats? What are we doing?
We're buying cats. We're selling dogs.
No.
Wait, no, we're selling cats,
coach?
buying dogs. Sorry, dogs
So we
are
want
good.
dogs.
We want dogs.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
cats
sell
are worth.
Cats.
Dogs are
I
good
know you're-
boys.
I know you're a cat person, Kyle. So
Who made that up?
That
Those
guy.
are the meanings for
Oh,
this.
that guy that says I don't need no more cats. We need some dogs.
The man that sees
Okay.
now.
I got it.
Oh.
We want
All right.
dogs.
All right.
Sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
So as I was
Even
saying-
Kyle comes in and interrupts you. He doesn't even know that's the stick.
Yeah, right. So look, I know he's had a great year. I have a hard time seeing that. Look, I see him getting paid and getting a huge contract extension and it looking bad potentially as early as next year. So I'm selling him for what I think would be really good value right now. Might not be higher than it's ever been. So sell Dak Prescott in my opinion. Two guys at running back, Najee Harris, of course, I'm going to say him. He's going to be replaced by Warren next year. And I just think he's basically about as good as a washed asset now. He's almost 25 for running back, which is getting up there. And then Eckler, another aging running back who I thought in the early part of this year was going to continue and maybe age gracefully, but that does not appear to be the case. And he looks to be basically already spent. So three wide receivers, Kyle, nice tee up for me earlier. Devontae Adams, if you haven't already sold him, sell him this offseason. I think it's about to get bad with him, and I think you could still probably get pretty good value for him.
Can I interrupt? Just because I have a good question to follow through that, and Kyle could ask you too. Like, what if Adams went back to Rodgers in New York? Like, how would that change your thought on him? Because I think I would be all over that.
Sure, I think as for on a contending team, yeah, I'd love that, but I think I'm looking long-term value with these assets, and I think if anything, he maybe has one, if that, or 2 years, 2 good years left. And I'm trying to just get out before you're left holding the bag. My next two, T. Higgins, and that might come as a surprise because he could end up in a better situation, but I'm just starting to worry about whether he's a true alpha. I know he had that great touchdown catch a couple weeks ago, but I'm not sold on him being a true number one, and that is maybe what his new team is going to expect him to be. Quentin Johnston, the guy just doesn't have it. And if I have him anywhere in Dynasty, I'll take pennies on the dollar. I'm out on him. I just don't think he's going to be good in this league based on how he's performed his rookie season. The last one at tight end, Dawson Knox. This one should probably be pretty obvious. he might have one more year with the Bills, but if it's one more year, it's in a secondary role to Kincaid, who they're going to absolutely feature next year. So if you can get something for Knox, even a third, I think I'd take that and just move on.
Hot off the press. All right.
Are we doing dogs? You want me to do dogs? I thought we'd do cats first. Cursed?
Oh, yeah. If you were just doing, whatever. Let's just do cats then. We'll go around cats first, and then we can.
Kyle, do you want to say your cat?
No.
Or go to Louis. Okay, Louis.
I only had dogs.
That's okay.
All right.
Wait. Yes, dogs.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna sell are gonna be. I mean, and again, these sound like very obvious names, but Cousins, I'm gonna try to get rid of based off of. I think I want to get rid of Cousins like immediately after the season to let other people's perception of where he ends up be my selling point. I would rather count on that being better than what really ends up for him. I think probably staying in Minnesota is probably the best situation for him. But I can really see him gaining steam by getting a good contract somewhere. And I think he would totally lose his value in a lot of different places than where he is right now with obviously Jefferson and a decent offense. So I'm going to try to sell Cousins. Super flex leagues, like, you should be able to get a mid first, right? Like and you don't think so? I think you can get a mid first for him. In a super flex league. Maybe
I think you should be able to get that, but
no
I don't think people. Yeah, I don't think people will do it.
We'll see. But he's going to be one. I'm going to, and these two are guys, or four guys that are all in kind of like the same tier that, like you said, like penny on the dollar. I don't want to get stuck holding Jacobs, Barkley, Eckler, Pollard. Like, if they have any bit of, if I could get a second for any of those guys, I'm pushing them off. Like, Jacobs is going to probably get a decent contract somewhere, but there's a lot of guys that are, up. Their contracts are up, and we saw this year, like, people get left out of that carousel, maybe until the first injury or whatever like that. But Zeke didn't start playing until last week, and he was one of those guys in that carousel. One of those four guys I just mentioned, like, might not even be signed to a team beginning of the year because they were trying to get too much money. So I think those guys are all guys to start selling right now. And maybe my most surprising one is, I think I've finally convinced myself Trevor Lawrence is not good. And I think if I could get rid of him for get back to Kyler Murray, or get back to like a guy in that could be considered like a top 12. I think I'm jumping on it. And I think people would still sell a pretty early first for Lawrence. Maybe not a top 3 pick, but I think you could probably get a pretty early pick for Lawrence in a super flex league. So that's another guy I'm selling.
I like that take a lot.
We could do the dogs now. Kyle could start, seeing that he didn't have any cats.
He's positive. Kyle, by the way, Kyle, this is the most positive you've been in so long. No one
It's funny, but the 2 buys that I have are 2 sells from Ryan, because I think one guy, well, I'll just say, are Devontae Adams and Quentin Johnston, for 2 reasons here. Devontae Adams, I believe, like Ryan said, though, you're thinking in the long term. But I've said, especially in Dynasty, if you're looking past 3 years, you're doing a disservice to yourself. 3 years is the max you should be looking ahead, in my opinion. And I still think you get Devontae Adams with a quarterback and a head coach that wants to throw the ball. I still think he puts up top 5 numbers in the league. Easy for at least 2 more years. That 3rd year, you might need to bite the bullet, but I think he's an easy grab right now because he's the lowest he could possibly be while still being able to put up high numbers. Now,
can I pause for a second? Let me just ask you. So if you could take right now Devontae Adams, or let's say someone gives you a late first for him, which might be like a Malik Neighbors, or a wide receiver that's comparable, yeah. What would you do if you were contending? Would that be different?
Well, not to get too detailed, but Malik Neighbors isn't going to be available in the late first. So I would be.
Superflex, right?
I mean, without the draft happening, I just don't see it yet, unless those other quarterbacks like Bo Nix really jump up the draft and get like a top 12 draft spot. I could see that happening, but I just don't see Malik Neighbors going that low. If you're in a 14 team, I would probably have no problem if I have the 114, 113 grabbing him, because like I said, assuming you have that pick because you're good, I think he adds and you don't have to wait. And then immediately, if he goes to, let's say, like Lou said, if he goes to even the Jets, who still have Garrett Wilson, obviously, I think his value immediately jumps up. And now you underpaid. Johnston, this is just a quick, you are 1 year removed from him being the first wide receiver drafted, or the second wide receiver drafted, being with Justin Herbert, a team that has aging stars, no Allen next year possibly, and just on where he was drafted last year in Dynasty and what you can get for him now. If you're just talking about value, you can probably get him for a mid-second if someone's really, like you said, really trying to move off him, taking pennies on the dollar for him. If you could get him for a mid to mid-late second, if someone just wants him to fuck off their team, I'm taking that because the potential is better. Got that.
And not to interrupt, but new coach probably, right? So like a whole reset.
Yeah.
Like they'll probably have a new coach. They'll probably have the two top wide receivers are probably gone, Allen and Mike Williams. Like, yeah, opportunity will be there for him. It's the same battle that we always talk about with like young players. It's like, do we want to get rid of them for pennies, or do you want to kind of just hold on and grasp to see if they have that? I think all three of us have Laviska Shenault shares. Our guest who's coming in here shortly was I think his first draft in one of our leagues was Keneal Heary. So there's guys like that we still want to believe in, but I think Quentin Johnson, I think I could go for one more year. Right, real quick.
I got one more that I really wanted to get out there, but I wanted to say those two because Ryan had them selling. Is tight end premium only. And tight at like 1.75, not even 1.5, 1.75, start to whatever it is. I think, first off, we all know you can't trade for a tight end in those leagues. You go try to trade a third for Mo Alley Cox right now, they'll fucking laugh in your face. You're not getting, no one's selling one. But I think if you're trying to get an impactful tight end that I think you could get for a reasonable offer right now is Pat Freiermuth, coming off a bad year. You still got Darnell Washington, people salivating over his combine and shit. And he's 1 year removed from being tight end 6 in those formats. And again, I think if you have pick 1-7, 1-8, 1-9, and you need a tight end and you're not getting one in this draft at that draft slot, I think I would be okay in those formats only throwing that out to a Pat Freiermuth if you just need a tight end in those leagues.
And I don't think that's enough in those formats, but you might
Probably
be right.
Not,
like somebody might sell him, and you make good points for him. Like he's going to have more opportunity for targets next year. There's probably a new quarterback, all those things that are just any kind of change you want to kind of bet on the player, right? And he's even looked good this year.
Yep. And Pat Freiermuth sounds like a 14th century falconer. So thanks for bringing that name up.
All right.
Moving on.
Do you want me to
Ryan, quickly go through your dogs as we have
a lovely guest we want to bring on.
Yeah, I'm going to rip through these. I'll keep an eye on the clock. All right. So Brock Purdy is my dog for quarterback. I know he might be a game manager, but I think he's a pretty good one, and he's in an awesome system, so I don't expect that to change anytime soon. A deeper pick would be Malik Cunningham if Jackson ever got hurt. I think you're maybe looking at a guy that can match somewhat of his athleticism. Running backs, I'm always targeting the rookies that have been in that backup situation that are going to explode next year. Tajay Spears is my guy. He's always going to be my guy. Chase Brown has looked really good. And don't forget about Keaton Mitchell, who's injured and might be at a discount right now, but I think I'd buy him for a second or third. And then wide receivers, again, young guys, Trey Palmer, Trey Tucker, okay, under the radar guys that might have bigger roles, both for the Bucs and the Raiders next year with a new quarterback. And then Collins and Dell in Houston. I mean, those guys are going to continue to do well if Stroud is a real deal. And finally, tight end. This is a really deep dive, but Luke Schoonmaker. He's a second-round pick of the Cowboys. Nobody is really on him right now at all because they got Ferguson, but who knows how long that's going to last. And they do have draft capital in this guy. Why not throw a fourth to try and get him?
Yeah. I like all those guys. I'm going to go really quick through mine so we could say goodbye to Kyle and get our other guests in. But two guys that have already been mentioned a lot in one way or another in this episode, but Gabe Davis and T. Higgins. And I'm only buying those two because they're free agents and probably will get into better situations. They're going to get money, and you know what money means. Money means targets. So those two guys, I love the top three picks in the draft. I'm doing anything to get in the top three. One guy that I have been down on for 5-6 years. Kyle knows this. It's a guy that I've wanted to sell before the cliff, but now can't you just see this guy leading the league in rushing for the Ravens next year? I think I would want to buy Derrick Henry because you could probably get him for a back and second or, some young flyer at this point. And I see him having 1 or 2 good years, just like a Latavius Murray type that just ends up in the right system and fucking kills it still. Yeah. He's shown he still has the stamina this year. So I'm kind of excited to buy him in certain win now teams. I think Curtis Samuel would be fun in any offense that was good. Ravens, or I'm sorry, Chiefs, Bills, something like that. He's never been in a great offense. I'm excited about where he ends up. And then there's a quarterback tier that I think you could get really cheap right now that I think all have proven they could be starting quarterbacks. And that's Sam Darnold, Winston, Minshew, Baker. Those four guys, Minshew and Baker played well enough to earn starting positions, but let me see Jameis Winston in Minnesota next year, and he's going to be a top 12 quarterback because he's got JJ and he's going to just whip, he'll have 37 interceptions, but he'll whip the ball around. So I like that tier, especially with all the injuries this year in quarterback, I'm going to go after a lot of those mid to veterans that guys don't think about because guess what? On every fucking team, they end up playing 4 to 6 games a year. And we saw it this year, Tim Boyle played in a fucking game this year. It's insane.
Ew. Right. Okay, perfect. Kyle, thank you so much. We love your takes. We love having you on as you are the original. And have a great new year. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, thanks. I'm glad this was 15 minutes long, like Lou promised.
Bye, Kyle.
You're the best. Bye, Kyle. Now, speaking of Kyle, what about hello?
Hey, gang.
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
Rick, did you see what Rick put in the private chat? He goes, "It's one of them slow flights." He was in the backstage for a while, so I apologize. It's Kyle. Kyle never shuts the fuck up.
Yeah, he was talking the whole time. It seemed
the whole time. Kyle put me on mute. Can you believe that? Yeah. How's it going, bud?
Good. What's happening, Allie?
Just living the dream.
Cool. Cool. Look at that. Flashing your bling. You're a big deal. I love
Show me
you got
yours.
one.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I don't have one.
Oh, I know.
she's been really kind of shoving it in our face.
But it's good for a day. It's like holiday lights. Now it's gross that I have a Christmas tree still up.
If I had any kind of a championship ring, I would wear it everywhere I went, all the time, always.
You can wear this, and I see you next at Helium Comedy Club for your
show.
That
won't go over any part of my body.
It's a toe ring. It's so cool.
All right.
So we're gonna do a very fun draft. We're doing our finale draft. Rick, you have a excellent podcast that you host, which is all about looking at movies and talking about them, right? Do you want to say anything about plug that?
Sure, yeah. It's called Nobody Watches Everything. Me and Clayton Williams, we go through movies and watch random ones. This season of our podcast, we're doing franchises, so we're right in the thick of the Rocky franchise right now. We just started. We're onto the Creed movies now, so that's where we are now in it.
Buckle up, right?
Buckle up, kids. Michael B. Jordan looks fucking good.
It gets good again.
It does.
It gets a reboot, as the kids say. So what we're saying is, Rick knows the moving pictures. So
I do.
We are going to do a finale draft. So we're going to draft our favorite finales of all time.
Okay.
Take what you will, and we will.
Creative as you need. I'm going to get you a draft order right now.
I picked about 2, so I.
You actually got the first pick. And then it's Ryan, and then me, and then Rick will have 2 in a row at the end of the round, and he'll start round 2. So, Allie, with the first pick, you start us off.
All right. So I'm just going to be efficient and fast with this for everyone's time. I'm going with the classic number 1 finale, which is the Seinfeld finale. Whether you like it or not.
Wow.
There's another one that loves a good one. There's another show that rhymes with.
That's the Johnny Manziel of draft picks.
One that people like that rhymes with Flipranos, but I'm not picking that one because I feel like it's a softball. So I'm picking Seinfeld because long live Larry David. And it's weird. I didn't love it, but that's what's kind of cool about it. And the jail cell.
Right.
Seinfeld.
Johnny Manziel for sure. I agree with Rick. Sorry, but you always do better in these polls than I expect you to do.
Oh, weird! Twitter guys just picking Allie number 1.
Yeah,
just a bunch of neck beards being like.
Whatever Ellie said, click. Because she shows off this collarbone all the time, like she's
How hungry?
I think what I think
how hungry
should be.
How hungry do I look right now, though, guys?
With that, and why don't you put your championship ring over the collarbone?
You want to wear a Caucasian color sweater, and that's what all it is. That's all it is. Flesh color sweater. There you go. Ryan.
Okay. I took a different angle with this because I am not a movie head or I don't watch a lot of shows, so I'm not very well versed in this. So I'm just gonna pick finales as in like best sports championship endings, which that I think also qualifies. So my first one's total homer pick is absolutely not going to be picked between now and when I would pick again. But I'm just going to take Game 7, Sabres-Senators, 1997, Derek Plant, overtime goal against Ron Tugnut in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. It's such a niche pick, but I got to have it. It's like you have to have this amazing goal that was really not that amazing because goalies sucked back then. So it hits his glove. It just flops over it and just kind of trickles in. But it's an iconic shot. And that was right when I was really getting into hockey. So it's a great memory for me. So that's what the pick is. And that's my finale. Yeah.
Everyone won, Ryan 0. Okay.
Thanks for adding. Yeah, it's like that In the Horn show where you just add points to all of us because Ryan said something stupid.
Yeah, I was muted 5 minutes ago.
Somehow we got 7 points there. I literally until the last minute was trying to think of a different way to go besides just TV shows, and I really couldn't get there. And then I thought of something that I 100% thinks deserves the number 1 pick here. Kobe Bryant's last game is the best finale of all time. The 80-point game, the fact that he went off, the fact that he did that on his last day, the fact that he's, his story ended the way it did, his life and all that stuff. I love that that's the end of his career. And
that's nice.
It was one of my favorite players. That's gotta be a first rounder. I'm happy with it.
I have to chime in. It's just amazing that you mentioned this because no joke, the other night, I think it was actually last night, I was going through YouTube, I just wanted to watch, like somebody was talking about Linsanity. So I watched that Jeremy Lin versus Kobe game. Like when Lin scored, I think it was like 41 points. Just random, but Kobe, that's a great pick. And had I thought about, like exits from the sport, I think I might have gotten there. So that's an awesome pick.
Yeah. I'm glad you also bought a Chinese jersey of
yeah, I have it coming in any day now.
You're talking about Linsanity? Is that Chinese jersey? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Louis doesn't spend full price for any athlete. He really likes Puka. It was one.
I got all my best fantasy football players this year. I got Chinese jerseys of, and only wore them on the podcast because they were so cheap that I was embarrassed to wear them.
Oh, I got a Dalton Kincaid Chinese one, and it was supposed to be 5X, and it wouldn't have fit my son. Like, it was really bad. Like, it was. I put it on. I was like,
Drop top confidence. There you go. Rick, who are you picking for your first and second?
All right. Number one right away. I'm going Breaking Bad. Because it's the best. It was just the best show, and the finale ended perfect. Like, it was a perfect landing. It was a 10 all around. You know what I mean? It landed on one leg, just like the Olympics. Like, it was perfect. And so it's crazy that it didn't get picked yet. When I got picked last, I'm like, oh, I'm losing it. But instead, you guys all went stupid directions. So it's awesome that I'm just gonna win this just based on having the right answer, which is nice. Nice.
And that was Rick Matthews. Everyone have a great night, Rick.
See you guys later. Thanks for coming.
We play you off to the Benny Hill music.
And I still win.
You still win with one pick. somehow Ryan.
Yeah, because the person that always votes for Ellie with 18 different accounts is now the guest tonight. So it really worked out.
That's great. Second.
And then your number two? Did you?
Yeah, my number two. It's I'm gonna go with the Wonder Years. I was a big Wonder Years kid growing up. I love the show, and the endings. I'll still watch it. Like, if it comes up on a TikTok and it's like the last 2 minutes, I'm like, well, it looks like I'm crying today. So yeah, and I'll still watch it, and it's still nice, and it's a good ending to a show. And
I think I know which one, but I feel like in 2023, almost 2024, you need to clarify which Wonder Years you're speaking of.
Oh, the white one, the white people.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted
Come on, man.
Brian
because the new one didn't end yet, unless it got canceled.
Wait, is it still going? I don't even know. I haven't watched.
Nobody.
I think it's died out. It wasn't because of that. Everybody really. My sister called my house the liberal house on Christmas. I could say those things. I have a lot. You said it. Like, it could have been 101, and I just don't want it to not get back to me. Sopranos has to go here. Okay. I hated how many people hated it. I think it has gained respect over the years as people's different theories have come out about what happened and what it was supposed to represent. But the show was so great, and I love that it ended kind of with the viewer being able to perceive it any way they wanted to, and you didn't have to make the decision that your hero died or the bad thing happened. I really thought it was genius, and whatever you thought of it, there wasn't a person that wasn't saying what the fuck and talking about it at the water cooler the next day. And I think it's probably the biggest what the fuck TV moment of our last 20 years. So I'll take it here. I didn't want to go with it first round, but I think it deserves to be here.
Yep. Wasn't going to take that because I've never seen the show, but there's probably a lot of people that think that's sacrilegious. I know. I don't have time now with two twin daughters. I'm going to blame them for this. So for my losing this for this vote easily. My next pick is going to be Super Bowl 42. Okay, folks, it was the Giants and the Patriots. That was a David Tyree helmet catch, and I just thought it was amazing because nobody was expecting the Giants to win that game. It started to look like a thing. He makes that amazing catch, also beating the undefeated Patriots. That's a great Super Bowl, in my opinion. Like something that you know happens that you didn't expect that also doesn't involve the Patriots winning, that's like a recipe for a good Super Bowl, in my opinion. So the second part is super important though, because a lot of people might say that the Falcons game, I can't get there. I can't get there with the Seahawks, should have run the ball with Lynch. So this is the only one that qualifies that also involves Tom Brady losing. So I'm going to pick that one.
There's a little part of me that, especially with time away from hating them as much as I did, that looks back at that and almost disappointed that they didn't finish that perfection. And I know we all were supposed to hate him. We all hate him, but like that team was. I've always loved Randy Moss, and I obviously hated Brady back then, but that team was as good as we've ever seen. And I mean, it was like they were playing video games out there, and I just still feel like it was such a disappointment that Giants team was not that good to beat.
I like the point that I want to see greatness rewarded, but I think just in this situation, because the game was so incredible and amazing that I couldn't believe. I remember watching that game. I was like, I can't even believe the Giants are hanging with them. And then it just then they end up pulling it out, and I was just like, that was so cool. I still remember watching that Super Bowl, so that is up there for me.
Lovely. My number 2 pick is going to be someone that's very dear to my heart, someone very important to me, would be David Letterman. His final
that was on my list.
Series finale, I think, as take even us all, like most of us being comics out, what a brilliant man, what a, had Everlong played, Dave Grohl do Everlong. Yeah. Foo Fighters did it. He even had Obama make a great joke that he that Letterman sucked, which was so great and edgy. Just brilliant. So that I would say is my number 2 pick. Number 3 pick, I was a big Mad Men fan, and Don Draper ending it the way they did. It was such a cool show. It was beautiful. AMC, that really puts them on the map, I feel. I mean, I know they played a bunch of reruns for so long, but Don Draper's existential Californian dream was so cool. So Mad Men was my number 3.
That was on my list.
It's on all the lists. I was not familiar with the show and didn't watch it, but I know people
with a Coke and a smile. It was just so one of the. Oh my god, it was so good.
It's beautiful. Yeah. The whole show was really even when they would have episodes basically about nothing, it was still so captivating. Very artistic. I don't know. What a great changed television.
Yeah,
I love that you said Letterman because he was on my list too, and I guess the only other person we'd have to ask is Rick. But I was definitely Letterman over Leno. I was young.
100%.
I was young.
Conan over everybody.
Oh, same.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Conan, but if it was between Letterman and Leno, I was always Letterman. But when it came time to 12:30, it was Conan. I would sometimes based on guests, I would watch Letterman's monologue, and then I would just cut it out and play video games until it was time for Conan to come on, and then
and no Craig Kilborn, huh?
I mean, once in a while he was funny.
Yeah,
I didn't hate Kilborn.
Skeleton was funny.
Yeah. Well, see you guys later.
Well, yeah. Getting back to my crazy interpretation of this finale game. I'm going to pick the 2017 Cavs winning the Game 7 against the Golden State Warriors. Okay. I think that's the best finish that I've ever seen in an NBA Finals. I mean, for sure. 93-89, LeBron had the block towards the end of the game to seal it. Kyrie hitting the game winner. And, I mean, that team just coming back from 3-0, down 3-0, had never been done before. Plus to do it for Cleveland, coming back. I mean, that's just storybook for that city. And I always have a soft spot for Cleveland because I feel like they're, our Rust Belt, brethren, right? I mean, just very similar sports, histories. And so I was very happy to see that. And I thought that was just so cool to watch. So awesome finale.
I love that. I wish Kyle was still in the room. Kyle, during that game, was throwing up in the ballyhoo bathroom, and I'm sure it was a very good memory for him, just as it was for you. But I remember that game very specifically because I don't think I've ever seen Kyle that drunk in my life. I was scared that passing this for Sopranos was too risky in a very musically inclined room, but. And I will say this, and I absolutely, as the biggest fan now, I feel horrible that like I remember watching this and actually mocking it at the time because I wasn't a huge fan, but now I got to be a huge fan post death, and like I look back at that as so amazing. Gord's last show for Tragically Hip, like that got stripped, like that was. I look back at that and I'm like so disappointed in myself that I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I've watched it back like just so many times because I've really like gotten to like love their music. I think that deserves. I mean, it was just so cool. Everybody knew what it was about. Like he knew it was his last show. It was emotional. Man, it was fucking great. It really was. Like every time I watch it, I still get emotional. And like I said, I wasn't even fans when he was still alive. So that was, I like going back and watching that. I think that belongs on this list.
His like breakdown during like Grace 2 and stuff like that, when he's just like screaming to the like to lament what was happening to him, that shit was crazy. And I could have went to that show, like tickets were offered me and I turned them down because I felt like I was like a Tragically Hip fan on a basic level. You know what I mean? Like I like the songs were on the radio. I like some of the cool songs from the albums, and I just didn't want the tickets to go to me because I felt like I didn't earn that spot being there. I was like, no, that should go to someone else that would like someone that was gonna cry for real, and I was just gonna cry because everyone's crying. You know what I
mean? Like, yeah. No, I like that. I like that. I could respect that.
That's a great pick.
That is a really good pick. So what do I got? I got the next two again.
Yep. Your last two.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna go with
live on camera.
This is tough. It's nice. Man, I got a couple right here that are really good. I'm gonna go with The Americans.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was a super good show and it ended well. I was afraid of how it was gonna end. I didn't know how they were gonna take it, but they took it. It was perfect. Like it was it ended well. The story was like kind of ended like on a smooth level where you kind of everyone deserved what they got, kind of in a good and bad way. And like I don't know if you guys watched the show at all. If you guys were like,
yeah, Carrie Russell.
Was awesome. Yeah, Carrie Russell was amazing. The whole run. Her kids were great.
Yeah.
Like, the people like the Russian, like the handlers and shit were super good. It was just the whole show was well acted, and a finale can get fucked up for a show like that, and it didn't. So that was good.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, now my final pick.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with the Challenger space shuttle. I mean, it happened in '86, and we're still talking about it now. Like it was iconic. You can't top it. There's no chance for a reboot. Like they closed all the doors on bringing it back for another spin. Like I think
that's so good.
Now, can I ask you a question, Rick? Sure. Why the Challenger over Titanic? If you're going for
this was in my lifetime, so I feel like I got to experience the teacher rolled because I don't know, I was in second grade and like all the teachers were so obsessed with it because all our teachers were women because it was elementary school in the 80s. And so every teacher like rolled the TV in to like watch it live. So because there was a teacher on the flight and there was a female pilot and everyone was super excited and all the women were pumped. So they all rolled in a TV just to watch typical lady driver explode the whole damn operation.
Des Bryant, everyone.
Des Bryant, everyone. We started off the show by condemning feminism, but we're going to end it with bringing it back.
Des Bryant. The lady astronauts with their lady skirts.
No, I just, you know.
So good.
Finishing off with the bang.
Still, that was nothing. That was not worse than any one of Ryan Faye's 4 picks when he was on the show. So I still okay with that. He hasn't.
Was that with like 69ing, like overrated picks? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I think I might have watched that clip.
He had some good ones. He really, I got it.
The Challenger might be the new viral, though, Louis. So.
Yeah, that one's probably going to go on.
Let me make sure
I hope you're okay with that being clipped.
I'll get this in while you get this viral, because wow.
That's why I said it, you guys.
I have some really good ones here, and I wanted to get away from TV, and I only picked one TV show, so I feel like I need to get back TV, even though I have another really good sports one. I will use my I got to use my favorite show, and I know I'm going to get made fun of for this, but the last one of Friends needs to be on this list.
it was so corny. It wasn't like anything special, but it brought us everything that show needed to bring us at the end. It brought us Ross and Rachel back together. Monica had her kids finally, and they broke the infertility stuff. It ended nice and cute for a nice and cute show. And sometimes you just need nice and cute, Yeah. I love Friends. I'm gonna go with that and confident.
All right, so my last pick is actually going to follow the rules of this, to actually be a TV show, which I think is what it was intended, or movie. And mine is Freaks and Geeks, and I think
that was on my list.
Great.
Yeah, look, it's the one show that I always think back, and I'm like, why did they not make a second season, and why did they not bring everyone back? But then it almost makes it more perfect when it's that way. Because it leaves you wanting more. And I thought that because that last episode does make you want more, it's a perfect finale, and just so many stars in that show, just such a great premise. I love everything about that show. So that's the one and look, it was a 1-season show, so I could make it through it, so that's probably why it's also on my list.
We've done the reboot draft here on this podcast, but how amazing would it be just to have just a movie, just do 1 hour-and-a-half episode of that cast doing a Freaks and Geeks episode. I would watch that.
I think it's just a Dayline episode talking about what happened to her after she disappeared when following the Grateful Dead. Just a story about how they find Lindsay in a field 4 years later.
That's all it is.
James Franco is James Franco, like you said.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right, this is a great choice. This is my final pick.
Final pick.
One of my favorites in the last several years finale comes from a brilliant show. It's Veep. If you haven't, it is still one of the most it's hard sometimes to laugh out loud at a show. Brilliant writing, great ending, inside jokes. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is just her timing, the whole cast. It's perfect. A great show to binge if you haven't seen it yet.
I've never seen it, and it's on my list of shows I need to watch. It's one of those things where I always want to start it, and then I get distracted because I know it's a big sell at this point because it's a lot of seasons.
Yeah,
it's Rick. I mean this with all sincerity. One of my favorite shows of all time is Arrested Development. If you like that kind of,
I love Tony Hale. I know he's in. I know everything. I need to. I like everything about the show without having even seen it yet. I know I already like it.
I'll rewatch it if you're gonna watch it, and we can discuss episodes. But
absolutely,
it's brilliant.
I'll let you know when I start it.
Yes, perfect. But that's so that's our draft, right?
That's it.
That's our draft.
That's all. We'll post it and see. I think Rick may have snuck in the winner there at the end, but we'll see.
No.
A couple little. If you guys have any, you can mention real quick. But a couple I want to mention that were on my list that I thought were all good. Cheers was a great finale.
Cheers is on my list.
Yeah. Better Call Saul was great, but I can't follow up Breaking Bad with it. I kind of feel like you can't have both on the same draft. And Breaking Bad was just a little bit better. So I when he went Breaking Bad, I knew that wasn't going to be one I picked.
Sure.
Parenthood was a great underrated show and ended very, very sadly and perfectly. But in the last 5 minutes of that show, it was a great drama. And then the last 5 minutes of the whole series, it legitimately brought every emotion that you could out of somebody. And not many shows do that in the end of a show. And I thought that they did great. Succession this year, I'm surprised nobody mentioned.
Yeah, no, that was so good.
Sometimes it's so fresh that you don't want to vote for it yet because it hasn't had the time to trigger everybody. But Succession was so great. And the one that I really wanted to go to if I was going to go more sports, and I thought Ryan may have went here, Ray Bork ending his career with the Stanley Cup in Colorado in his last game, I thought was pretty cool. I always respected Bork, even though he was a brute. Look at you, you're all.
Yeah, it kind of ruined it for me. I had one other one that I was considering for movies for shows, Bloodline. I thought that was a good show. I kind of liked how that ended too. It was just kind of left it right where it was. And then two that I thought were great shows that had bad finales were The Office. But that just lingered on for too long after Michael Scott anyways. And then the other one, was Ozark. Great show. I thought, again, the finale was just kind of rushed and just, they tried to just stop it right where it was. So
yeah. I had Game of Thrones and Ted Lasso.
I didn't like the Game of Thrones finale, but I had Newhart.
Yes,
that's so good. Newhart is so good.
I almost went with that instead of the Challenger, but I wanted to go for sass over class is what I did there.
I think Newhart is great. I just never watched the show, but like just thinking of the concept, I think
so
it's
brilliant.
number one. Yeah,
I had The Good Place on mine too as a show that ended really great. And for busts, like I'd say what the hell was it? Well, Scrubs has got a great finale, but then they extended it by another season to like do like a Scrubs University thing that was really bad. And How I Met Your Mother had was a bust as far as like a cool show that ended like garbage.
Yeah. That was a great draft, everyone. So, and Rick, you are a season ticket holder, Bills junkie, Bills Mafia member.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything you want to talk about for this season, really quick? Any of your fantasy football hot takes?
I quit fantasy football this year for the first year ever. I'm not in no leagues, on no teams. I got rid of all my FanDuels and I got rid of all my I didn't gamble at all whatsoever.
How much happier are you?
So much, man. I don't get mad when some random tight end catches a touchdown anymore. Like that's a nice feeling to have, to not be mad when just some second string fucking running back that your opponent picked up on a whim and you think he cheated with a fortune teller. Fucking none of that shit. Like losing by 1 point because of some bullshit or it's so nice. So I don't have that. Yeah. As far as the Bills go, man, they could legitimately be an undefeated team right now based on their losses that were so fucking dumb. And now they're like fighting their asses off, which is cool to watch. But man, they're gonna wear themselves out, needing to like smash against the boards every single game. Like I'm worried about the playoffs. I think they're gonna make the playoffs, but I'm worried because they're gonna have to play their asses off against a team they shouldn't have to with the Patriots, and then they're gonna have to play their asses off against the tough fucking Dolphins team. For the very next week, they have to like play fucking like again. They're gonna have to play Kansas City probably. Like Jesus Christ, like
give you up.
That hurts, man.
I'm very optimistic that they still win the division. Like they're gonna win that game in Miami. They're gonna get the 2 seed.
I think Miami's gonna lose to Baltimore.
Yeah. By the way,
and then that gives us the 2 seed. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, McDaniel's saying, did you hear the press conference when he said, "Oh, I didn't realize this would clinch our playoff"? Like bullshit. Yeah. Of course you did. You know everything. Yeah. Like what a noodle. I do love him. I do love him.
I absolutely love him. He's
I don't want to, but man, do I.
No, he's so likable.
Did you see the clip of him like literally screaming at Dan Marino the other day? Like, fuck your records, Dan. We're going to break all your records, Dan, while he was standing next to him on the sideline. If you haven't seen it, you have. Like, the whole crowd was like giving him, and Dan's like waving to the crowd, and McDaniel's standing behind him going, fuck you, Dan. We're going to break all your records, Dan. Like, with the mic on. Like,
I wish Josh would say that to Jim Kelly. But with like a fake lisp.
Put that on a sign and maybe that can happen.
Oh man, I should have picked third. Jim Kelly's palate. Oh!
Josh Allen just like comes with like a steak on a knife and just teases him.
Or he just does every interview with peanut butter in his mouth, so it sounds like him. It's a mouthful of Ritz crackers talking about Wings of Hope.
Ryan's getting disappointed. We're talking about his hero.
He's a great guy, everyone. Okay.
All right. Rick needs to go to sleep. And
yes.
We gotta let him go.
Rick,
this
happy
is just
New Year.
AI, you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'll see you Sunday.
Everything. I love it.
I'll see you Sunday, Lou. We'll eat some food together.
Sunday.
It'll be wonderful.
We'll be all at the game, but just separate but equal location.
Yeah.
It'll be someplace heated with cushions and like massages.
Yeah.
Look at my.
All right, Rick. Thanks for joining us.
Bye,
Appreciate you.
Oh, he's the best.
That was fun. I know we gotta close up. Everybody's sleeping, but I did want
I love inappropriate comics going on.
Oh yeah, no, it's so great. It's literally what and we're gonna talk some off-season episode ideas here, and we're gonna probably have a bunch of comics on during the off-season. I know in a couple weeks we'll do a playoff preview, and then Rye, I know like we've done a couple playoff challenges. I'm gonna probably get a few people on to do maybe a show full of playoff challenges here. We'll probably take next week off, do a playoff preview here in a couple weeks, and just do that. Maybe a couple playoff challenges. I think what I want to hear from our listeners, whether it be in the comments or DM or whatever you guys want to do, like, we listen to just some comedy only episodes this off season, because I got some great ideas. I thought one funny idea would be if me and Ryan had to watch a reality show of your choice, and then we had to come on and all talk about it. I think that would be funny. I think Ryan should pick a Kevin James movie for me and you to watch and come on and talk about it. That'd be a fun episode. And then I think I can make you guys watch one of my 30-minute sets, and then we can come on and we can talk about that. So I think that there are things that we can force each other to watch here.
And then I can watch everyone's kids for an hour and see how I never want to have my own.
Yeah, you watch all three of our kids and see if they all survive. We'll
can't watch Frozen.
I think that would be.
That's awesome.
But we're gonna think of some creative ways. I just want to make sure that, like, football gets boring in April and May. There's only so many rookies we can talk about. So I'd like to present some different ideas for some shows. We'll try to keep the content going through the off season, and we're gonna have to start obviously promoting ourselves to Ozempic, and Ozempic's gonna come to us. We got some other, I got some other things, feelers out. Revolver Records. I'm just saying, I've had some discussions. Local, so we might have some sponsorship here soon, but until then, let's just keep being funny, huh?
All right. Well, that was we're entering week 17, which means we're closing out our season, our year. So thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned. Have a safe and healthy New Year's. Louis, Ryan, thank you both. This has been Analytics for the Nerds.
It's been 10-12 since the beginning of the year at my house. 10-12.
10-12.